Jackie Robinson on April 15th, 1947, he became the first African American to play Major League Baseball. He used his fame to garner support for the Civil Rights Movement. Executive Order 9981 was Truman ending segregation in the armed forces on July 26, 1948. It was a step in the right direction toward desegregation everywhere. The NAACP was an organization that worked to abolish segregation and discrimination everywhere. They helped to advance integration in the armed forces, the Civil Rights Act of 1957, 1964, and 1968, and Voting Rights Act of 1965. Brown v. Board of Education was a Supreme Court case that deemed state-sanctioned segregation of public schools was unconstitutional. This was a major catalyst for the Civil Rights Movement and making it possible for desegregation elsewhere. Emmett Till was a 14-year-old African-American boy who was abducted, tortured, and lynched in Mississippi in 1955 after being accused of offending a white woman. This sparked the upsurge of activism and resistance of the Civil Rights Movement and pushed those on the sidelines into the fight. Rosa Parks was a civil rights activist who refused to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Her arrest launched the Montgomery bus boycotts. This caused a spark that ignited the Civil Rights Movement. She is known as the mother of the Civil Rights Movement. The Montgomery bus boycott was sparked by Rosa Parks' arrest. It was a 13-month-long mass protest that ended with the Supreme Court ruling that public bus segregation is unconstitutional. It began the modern civil rights movement as MLK Jr. as its leader. Freedom rides were bus trips through the American South in 1961 to protest segregation. The Interstate Commerce Commission banned segregation in the interstate travel that fall. Little Rock 9 at Central High School was during the summer of 1957. Black students enrolled at Central High School, and it was a test for the U.S. government to support Brown v. Board. They were sent the military to be escorted to class. This epitomized the fight at the Civil Rights Movement for equality. The Congress of Racial Equality was founded in 1942 by an interracial group of students in Chicago. This pioneered the key tactics of the modern civil rights movement, like civil disobedience. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference was founded in 1957 after the Montgomery bus boycotts. The goals were to end segregation and encourage African Americans to vote. They played key roles in the March on Washington and the Selma Voting Rights Act campaign. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee was founded in 1960. It practiced peaceful direct action protest and played integral roles in the sit-ins, freedom rides, and March on Washington. Sit-ins were a nonviolent form of protest that involves one or more people occupying a space for protest for an extended period of time. Demonstrated anyone could take action against segregation. Martin Luther King Jr. was an American Christian minister, activist, and political philosopher, and was one of the most prominent leaders of the Civil Rights Movement. He organized the March on Washington and the Selma marches, and the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965. Malcolm X was a civil rights activist that believed in black empowerment and separatism and armed self-defense. He set the tone for ideological and tactical conflicts that took place within the black freedom struggle. Black nationalism believed in radical pride among black people, economic self-sufficiency, and black separatism. It forced America to see the plight of black people not just as a social issue, but as an American issue. The Black Panthers were founded in 1966. They were a revolutionary organization with the ideology of black nationalism, protecting blacks against police brutality and other types of brutality. They challenged politicians and the police and showed the ideological divide in civil rights. Founded in 1962 by Chavez, the United Farm Workers was a labor union for farm workers in the United States. They had similar protest methods as the Black Civil Rights Movement, like civil disobedience, and they accomplished their goals of getting better wages and protection of the U.S. government for farmers. Cesar Chavez led United Farm Workers and also was a civil rights activist. United Farm Workers was the first successful farmers' workers union and protected thousands of farmers and achieves more rights for farmers. The Japanese American Citizens League was founded in 1929. It is a civil rights organization, and it led the federal government to redress wartime internment and it had similar goals to the Black Civil Rights Movement.